Hi, I am MedioCore and I learned all of my social skills from observing Oblivion NPCs.
Help! They're killing everyone at Waynon Priory.
Today, I will explain the entire storyline of the fourth installment of the Elder Scrolls main quest. Let's get into it. We start the game off with a speech from Patrick Stewart.
I was born 65 years ago. For 87 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of Tamriel Gate.
He plays the role of Uriel Septim, the current emperor of Cyrodiil, which is the capital province of Tamriel. We meet our character in the Imperial prison, where they are being held for unknown reasons. My backstory is that I was sent to jail for killing too many people with my signature move.
Cockpuncher.
In the cell adjacent to ours, there is a dark elf who throws a racist tantrum towards a player character based on their race. So my philosophical question for today is, if you're being equally racist to all the races, does that make you a racist? Yes. After that, Patrick Stewart comes into our cell and it's explained that he's being hunted down by assassins. In his heart, he knows that his sons are already dead and that he is probably next. He also admits that he has been having dreams about the player.
You are the one from my dreams. I am Gate.
Before the situation can escalate, the Emperor's bodyguards open a secret door, which we'll conveniently use to our advantage. After some grave robbing, the Emperor gives you the Amulet of Kings, which is a sacred amulet only worn by the Septim family. He also tells us to find his last living heir that only a monk named Joffrey knows about. Turns out, Patrick Stewart was pretty excited for this role, but unfortunately, hoping he got bushwhacked 5 minutes in. His last words are a request to the player.
Close shut the jaws of Oblivion.
Naturally, given the urgency of my task, I spent a few weeks becoming the new Grand Champion of the arena. I also tried pawning off the Amulet of Kings, but that didn't take.
They were handed down from me from my dad, which was handed down to him from his father.
Okay, first off, I can tell you right off, this is a reproduction.
With the Amulet of Kings in hand, we set off to Waynon Priory to find Joffrey, who is also a Grandmaster of the Blades, a secret order devoted to the protection of the Emperor. Joffrey takes the Amulet of Kings from us, and he tells us of a priest named Martin, who is currently residing in Kavach. Fun fact, Kavach sounds like an Eastern European slang word for pussy or something. I don't get it, man, why would you spend all the time on Tinder?
For Kavach!
Aha. After reaching Kavach, we found out that an Oblivion Gate has spawned there overnight. What's an Oblivion Gate? You see, there are 16 Daedric princes in Oblivion. These are powerful godlike beings that all have their own shtick, much like the Greek and Roman pantheons. Most of them are inherently evil because absolute power almost always corrupts. Each of the Daedric princes have their own plane of Oblivion, which reflects their nature. So in other words, an Oblivion Gate is a portal from Tamriel to Hell. Aggressive entities emerge from these portals, so entering Kavach is not safe. We cannot retrieve Martin from the chapel as long as the portal is active, so we are the chosen one sent into the portal to find a way to shut it down. Inside this plane of Oblivion, we find a guard that has been captured, and he tells us that the portal can be shut down by removing the sigil stone in the central tower. Also, I feel like he has quite a good chance to climb out of his cage. In the central tower, we can remove the sigil stone, and then the whole plane of Oblivion just ceases to be. Which reminds me of taking my granny off of life support. We did it! We figured out how to close Oblivion gates. Inside Kavach, we can finally encounter Martin. While talking to him, I realized I recognized his voice from somewhere.
Yes, I'm a priest. Can you free me from this pit?
Oh, he dared. With Martin in tow, we return to Joffrey. Unfortunately, the cult of the Mythic Dawn has invaded Waynon Priory. The Mythic Dawn is the cult that is responsible for the murder of the Emperor and his family. Turns out, ending the royal bloodline broke the barrier to Oblivion, and this is why Oblivion gates are now popping up all over Tamriel. The Mythic Dawn worship the Daedric prince Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric prince of destruction. They want to use the Oblivion gates to return Mehrunes Dagon to Tamriel, because he is their clan leader in RuneScape, and frankly, the Wi-Fi in hell is balls. Also, they want him to destroy the world or something. We stop the attack at Waynon Priory and introduce Martin to Joffrey. Luckily, this encounter went a lot better than the last time Sean Bean encountered at Joffrey. Unluckily, the moth is made off with the Amulet of Kings. This is f***ed because we need the Amulet of Kings to relight the Dragonfires, which is the only way to stop the Oblivion gates from popping up. Since the Mythic Dawn now knows about Martin, Joffrey escorts him to Cloud Ruler Temple, a secret weed base for the Blades. From here, we can rethink our strategy, and we are suggested to join the Mythic Dawn to gain inside knowledge. Luckily, I was already finna do that. To be fair, you have to have a fairly high IQ to understand the teachings of the Mythic Dawn, so entry is only available to those smart enough to look at the first letter of each chapter from the book that was written by the Mythic Dawn leader. Because we solved the puzzle, we get an invite to join the Mythic Dawn. The leader of the Mythic Dawn is a high elf named Minecraft Cameron. He is in the middle of a heartfelt speech. I'm not acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
So saith Lord Dagon, praise be.
After his speech, he flies off to so-called paradise using the Amulet of Kings, which means that we have no way of following him. Luckily, we do acquire the Mysterium Xarxes, which is a book written by Dagon himself, telling us how to get to paradise. I myself can make little sense of it, but luckily, Martin is well versed in the translation of Daedric text, and he is also a connoisseur of forbidden reading material. I learned that one the hard way. What's up, MedioCore? Today we're pranking Emperor Martin Septim by putting a week-old fish in his bookshelf. They'll never suspect a goddamn thing. Yo, what the fuck? While Martin is busy translating the Mysterium Xarxes, he has asked us to obtain a Daedric artifact, which is an artifact made by a Daedra. There are 4 items needed to enter paradise, and one of them is a Daedric artifact. After selling my body to Azura, the Daedric Prince of Dawn and Dusk and one of the few who is not inherently evil, we are awarded with Azura's star. We will never speak of this again.
I won't ask what you went through to obtain this, my friend.
Oh god. After this whole debacle, Joffrey informs us that an Oblivion gate has just opened up near Bruma, which is crawling distance away from Cloud Ruler Temple. So it's up to us to go into the portal, make it to the top and be like, what the fuck? I'm not ready from the top contact! And thus we saved Bruma. After this battle, Martin has deciphered the next part of the Mysterium Xarxes. We now need to find the blood of a god. And since god is more of a concept than something tangible, luckily there's a loophole. Tiber Septim is a man who has ascended to godhood and is now known as Talos. Because he started out as a lowly flesh sack, he is the only divine that is left behind a mortal body, so stealing Tiber Septim's blood is the only way to get this done. Unfortunately, Tiber's final resting place is cursed real bad, and it's impossible to reach his coffin without lifting the curse. There are 4 trapped souls that will help lift the curse, but only if you can grant their mortal bodies rest. Luckily, I am used to providing services to men for favors, and the curse is lifted in no time. Victorious and with new drip, we return to Martin. There's also an optional quest to recruit other cities in the defense of Bruma, since that is the place the Mythic Dawn is most likely to attack. They will only help you out if you close down the Oblivion gate closest to their city, so just pretend I said, I'm not ready from the top contact 6 times. Meanwhile, Martin has made progress in translating the Mysterium Xarxes. All you have to do is grave up artifacts from an ancient civilization, because that has never gone wrong before. After we return a 3rd artifact to Martin, he tells us that he figured it all out. The last piece of the puzzle is a Great Sigil Stone, which can only be obtained by closing a Great Oblivion Gate. Thus, we ask the Countess of Bruma for help. Can we open up a Great Oblivion Gate in your backyard?
No.
Please.
Okay.
After convincing the Countess, we can prepare for the final battle.
My place is on the battlefield.
Following a long and arduous battle, we finally make it to the top of the last Oblivion Tower. Now, we unplug the last granny in this story and we're hailed as the heroes that we really are. We now have everything we need to open a portal to paradise and get back the Amulet of Kings.
Old Tamriel, still old Tamriel, a worthy foe at last.
With the Amulet of Kings, we travel back to the Imperial City, where we want to relight the Dragonfires to stop the Oblivion crisis, but we're in for a rude awakening when we reach the city center, which is now besieged by Dagon and his humongous monkey schlong. Jesus. In a desperate attempt to save the world, Sean Bean exhibits Sean Bean-like behavior, by becoming a dragon, biting a jugular and fucking dying. Turns out, all that was needed to end the Oblivion crisis is Sean Bean dying. And that's gonna do it for the main quest. If you wanna see more cinematic masterpieces, get the fuck out of here, otherwise check out this playlist.